All right, welcome back. We are going to work on some coil construction. So I have part of it built already because you would want to like kill me by the end of this because it just takes so long. So what I did to start off with real quick is I made a base. So this is my base here. It can be square, it can be rectangle, it can be an organic shape, it can be whatever you want. That's one of the best things about coil pots, because it does not matter what shape you have and they conform to anything. So this is a really, really useful technique to make those really oblong shapes or those weird shapes or even just a round shape. So you can see that I started here. I started scoring and slipping. Now, coil doesn't always necessarily look pretty when you're making it, but you can make it pretty when you're done. So I have these coils here, and then I have already made some. Remember, you want to make coils on your table and not on your clay cloth. It makes your world a whole lot easier. Go back to the coil tutorial from earlier. So what I started to do is I started putting my coils on, and I added my coils on the outside of the previous coil, and that's how you get that sort of outside bowl shape. You can definitely go straight up if you would like. That's not a problem. I just wanted to show you this technique because a lot of people get a little confused. So when you want it to go out, you need to put your coil on the outside, not directly on top. If I wanted it to go straight up, I would just put it right in the middle of this coil and keep going straight up. But if I wanted it to go out, I continue to put it on the outside. Now, if I want it to go in, then I'll put it on the inside of the coil and it'll start going in. So like I said, this is a great way to create those really cool, funky shapes. But let's get into actual construction. So what I'm gonna do, and this is why I didn't do it before, I didn't show you the process from the beginning because it can be very tedious. So you need to score this whole thing. So I did it that way. I'm gonna do it another way. It's so very important to make sure you really score your coils. If you don't, they are gonna have pockets in them of air, like just on the sides here, and you don't want that to happen. So the thing with coiling is you can leave it as a coil on the outside, or you can smooth it out. And I'll show you how to smooth it out in here in a second, but whatever way you want. Some people even make like a slab construction, then they add coil on top for decoration, completely up to you. So I've scored both of these things. I'm gonna add some slip on here. It's okay if the slip gets sort of everywhere because you would smooth it out or fix it up at the end. So I'm really gonna score, well, not score, but I already did that. I'm gonna put some slip on here, really making sure I get all those crevices in here. And then I'm gonna start adding it in. So I'm gonna start curling this straight up. So I'm putting it on the top here, making sure my two scoring places are meeting. Now you can see I don't have any score marks there, so I've got to add more, and this is a pretty long piece. The cool thing about coils is you can make them really thick and it goes a lot quicker in your construction process. So I'm adding it straight up now. Turn this a little bit. And then after I'm done, I just need to press it down a little bit just so that I know that they're really stuck on there. So you can see like it sort of went out here and now it's going straight up again. I'm gonna do one more, so bear with me here, just so that it's a little bit taller. So scored that. I'm gonna come in here and score all this. Slip it again. Like I said, it can get pretty messy, but that's okay. Get that slip off here. While I'm doing this, you can see that my clay cloth isn't getting too messy. It's gonna get a little messy, but it should not get like soaking wet. So I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna move my coil to the inside on this last pass here. to sort of make it come in. Gotta score and slip again. Okay, so you can see from the beginning to now that it was out, and I went up with one, and then I went in, and you can see that it's starting to curl in. So I'm gonna press down a little bit. I'm gonna wipe my hands off real quick. And just sort of press it down. And this is where I can come in and sort of see how there's a piece there. I would just take some clay, get a little bit slip on it, and sort of cover that piece up and then smooth it out. You can even make it look like a coil again. Just sort of cut off that piece there, and now no one knows that there was a little hole there and it looks like the coil. So if you want the coil look, you just have to come in, sort of smooth it out, make sure all those crevices are gone if you need them gone. Some of you may not have any holes like I just had. Like that, if I were to really make a coil pot, like that little part bothers me. So I just come in with my knife and make it more distinctive, okay? But some of you are going to want to smooth it out. So I'm gonna show you how to smooth it out here. I gotta go get a tool. All right, sorry about that. I had to go get my tools. They were on a different counter. So you're gonna use a rib tool. So a rib tool is one of these big pieces of wood tools, and they come in lots of different shapes and sizes because you can use this to like smooth out the inside or this to smooth out the outside, whatever you want, but they're really, really useful and super nice to use. I'm going to use maybe both of them. I gotta just see how it feels. But what you're gonna do with the rib tool is you're gonna put your one hand on the inside, and then your rib tool is gonna go on the outside. And I would not do this until you're done, just because you get out of the coil construction part, and sometimes it gets hard to get back in. So just do all of your coils first, and then start with your rib tool to smooth out. So I'm gonna take my tool, and I can either take the round end or the straight end, it doesn't really matter. And I'm gonna start smashing it together. And if your clay is pretty moist, you don't really have to push that hard. So I went up, and then I'm going down a little bit. And maybe you only want to use this on part of it. So you're just sort of taking that clay and sort of pushing it together a little bit more. This is a way you can create, I mean, so many different things. A mug, cookie jar, a bowl. I have a coil pot at home that's 2 feet high. I made with coils just because you can add some really cool decorations in there. So I'm not gonna smooth out the whole thing, but you can see by just using the rib tool that it's pretty smooth. And I come in here with a little bit of water, not too much, and I can really make that super, super smooth. So that's another way to create. And then you might have to come back here and sort of reshape it a little bit. Like mine's a little wonky now because I was holding it up in the air. When you do yours, you probably want to keep it on the table and just go up like this instead of holding it up in the air, just so that your shape stays how you want it to stay. But you can either have it coil or you can have it smooth. But this is a really, really great technique to use for anything, for whatever shape you want.